Umbrella Corporation, Resident Evil. Umbrella was never really a pharmaceutical company. To the public, it was a massive corporation producing medicine and medical products.
Behind closed doors, however, Umbrella was developing viruses and bioorganic weapons.
But even that wasn't the deepest secret. At the center of everything was founder Oswell Spencer and the progenitor virus. Spencer believed this virus could do more than create weapons. He thought it could force humanity to evolve. The problem was that most people exposed to it simply died. So Umbrella gave him something a private experiment never could: money, laboratories, scientists, military contracts, and human test subjects. Then came Project W. Hundreds of children born to accomplished parents were secretly selected, educated, and monitored as possible candidates for Spencer's future humanity. Stranger still, they were all given the same surname: Wesker.
Albert Wesker wasn't just an Umbrella scientist. He was one of the experiments. But even that wasn't Spencer's final ambition. He dreamed of creating an enhanced human race and ruling over it almost like a god. Only a handful of people knew the full picture. Even Umbrella's hidden African facility was kept secret from most of the corporation. And perhaps that's what makes Umbrella so disturbing. Its employees thought they worked for a company. Its scientists thought they were developing weapons. But the entire corporation was disposable. For Spencer, Umbrella was simply the laboratory surrounding an experiment called humanity.
2. Men in Black. Joining the Men in Black doesn't just mean getting a new job. It means erasing the person you used to be. In the movies, the organization secretly manages extraterrestrial activity on Earth. Aliens live among humans, agents monitor them, and anyone who sees too much gets flashed with a Neuralyzer and sent home with a more ordinary memory. But the MIB itself operates largely beyond normal public oversight, while controlling alien technology, weapons, immigration, and information the rest of humanity isn't allowed to know. Even some ordinary human inventions are suggested to come from alien technology, patented by the organization to generate money. Which raises a strange question: how much of human progress is actually human? Then there's the Neuralyzer.
It isn't merely a memory eraser. It allows agents to remove what someone witnessed and replace that gap with another explanation. And MIB agents surrender their own histories too, severing connections to their former lives and disappearing from normal records. But the original comics go somewhere even darker. There, the organization isn't limited to aliens. It investigates demons, mutants, zombies, werewolves, and other paranormal phenomena, and uses extreme methods to keep them hidden. At that point, the MIB stops looking like secret alien police. It starts looking like an organization deciding what humanity is allowed to believe exists. And that's the perfect system for hiding the truth. Because if they ever erased your memory of finding it, how would you know?
3. The DHARMA Initiative. Lost. Imagine spending every day observing people inside a secret experiment, only to discover that nobody was even reading your reports. That was the Pearl, just one station belonging to the DHARMA Initiative. On the surface, DHARMA was a scientific project studying everything from psychology and zoology to electromagnetism. After reaching the mysterious island, its researchers constructed stations across it, each apparently studying a different phenomenon. But DHARMA may have been chasing something far bigger than scientific discovery. According to the Valenzetti Equation storyline, the numbers 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, and 42 represented variables connected to when humanity would eventually destroy itself. DHARMA's larger mission was to change those variables and possibly change humanity's fate. The island became their laboratory. Yet the deeper they experimented, the stranger their work became. The Pearl's researchers believed they were secretly observing workers in another station. Their notebooks were later discovered dumped in a field, suggesting the observers themselves may have been the experiment.
The orchid appeared to study plants while concealing research connected to space and time. And inside the swan, entering those 6 numbers every 108 minutes wasn't a psychological game at all. It helped contain a dangerous electromagnetic anomaly DHARMA itself had disturbed. Eventually, almost the entire island operation was wiped out during the purge. The stations remained, the tapes remained, even supplies continued arriving. But the people trying to solve humanity's expiration date were gone. DHARMA went looking for a way to save civilization. It couldn't even save itself.
4. Federal Bureau of Control. Control. Every day, employees at the Federal Bureau of Control work beside an enormous power plant. Many of them don't know their former director is inside it. The FBC is a secret government organization created to investigate objects, places, and events that break the normal rules of reality. Its mission can be reduced to 3 words: find, investigate, control. There's just one problem. Almost nothing surrounding the Bureau appears to be under its control. Its headquarters, the oldest house, is itself an anomaly. Ordinary people struggle to notice the building, while inside, rooms shift, corridors change, and parts of it connect to places that shouldn't exist. Then there is the board.
This mysterious entity appears as an inverted black pyramid in another dimension and communicates with the Bureau in strange, ambiguous messages. More disturbingly, the board is connected to the service weapon used to choose the FBC's director, meaning the leader of this government agency is effectively selected by something that isn't human. Some researchers even began questioning whether the board was helping the Bureau at all, or attaching itself to the oldest house like a parasite. And then there's Director Northmore. After developing uncontrollable paranatural abilities, Northmore was secretly sealed inside the Northmore sarcophagus container. His immense heat now generates power for the building. The Bureau studies forces it doesn't understand, follows an entity whose motives it can't verify, and operates inside a building it cannot fully explain. Which leaves one uncomfortable question. If all of those things are controlling the Bureau, what exactly is the Bureau controlling?
5. The SCP Foundation. There may be entire departments inside the SCP Foundation dedicated to things their own employees cannot remember exist. Most people know the Foundation as the organization behind Secure, Contain, Protect, secret facilities where researchers imprison anomalies that shouldn't exist. But depending on which SCP records you believe, containment is only the surface. One division deals with anti-memes, information that resists being remembered. Something could be right in front of you, and moments later, your mind may lose the ability to remember it. SCP-055 takes this idea even further. The Foundation understands it largely through what they know it isn't. And some information threats are even worse. Knowing about them can itself put you in danger. But even that isn't the strangest part. Some SCP stories introduce pataphysics, where researchers investigate anomalies involving narrative itself, including the disturbing possibility that their reality is fiction, influenced by beings existing above their narrative level. In other words, the Foundation can contain monsters, but how does it contain whoever is writing the story? And then there's SCP-001. There isn't one definitive file. There are numerous contradictory proposals describing completely different possibilities. One might be genuine, several might be, or the contradictions themselves could exist to bury the truth. That's the problem with investigating the SCP Foundation.
The deeper you go, the less certain you become that you're reading its secrets, and not another layer designed to hide them.
6. The Southern Reach series. The Southern Reach has spent years studying Area X, and after all that time, it may understand the place less than the people it keeps sending inside. In Jeff Vandermeer's novels, the Southern Reach is the government organization responsible for monitoring a mysterious region known as Area X. To the outside world, the restricted zone can be explained away as an environmental disaster. Inside, almost nothing behaves that simply. Expeditions repeatedly enter Area X, yet some participants return strangely changed. Others don't return at all. And eventually, the organization faces an even worse possibility. Something can return looking like the person who entered without actually being them. The biologist's duplicate, known as Ghost Bird, turns containment into an impossible question. If something walks out of Area X, how do you prove what it really is? Meanwhile, Southern Reach itself isn't free from manipulation. Expedition members undergo psychological conditioning, information is compartmentalized, and above the organization sits another secret authority known as Central. But even Central doesn't provide a reassuring mastermind who understands everything. And that's the real rabbit hole. Area X doesn't simply resist scientific investigation. It seems to undermine the tools used to investigate it. Identity, observation, memory, language, even time. Later discoveries push the mystery backward, toward the Forgotten Coast and events from before Area X supposedly began, which leaves a disturbing possibility. Maybe there was never a clear moment when the anomaly started. Maybe humanity simply noticed it too late. Most secret organizations are frightening because of how much they know.
The Southern Reach is frightening because, after everything it has seen, it still doesn't know what it's looking at.